Hi, my name is Casey Kirschper, and my professional development for language project was on stuttering. So my project was on stuttering. This is by Casey Kirschper and Amidala Soria. The definition of stuttering is a speech disorder characterized by the repetition of sounds, syllables, or words, prolongation of sounds, and interruptions in speech known as blocks. Stuttering can look different between every person in the world and even between adults and children. The prevalence is that approximately 2% of children ages 3 to 17-year-olds have a stutter. And also, stuttering can be passed down genetically. This means that if someone in your family has a stutter, you are 2 times more likely to also have a stutter. As you can see, this chart is fluency disorders, this identified, and in the chart, it talks about cluttering and stuttering. Stuttering is one of the most common fluency disorders there is, followed up by cluttering. And together you can see that stuttering, which is the darker gray, takes almost 0.30 more than cluttering. Stuttering can have a big impact on school-age children. To begin, many school-age children can feel embarrassed of their stutter. This can hinder their participation in the classroom and with their peers. Feeling embarrassed may cause them to not speak in class, and this will be hindering their ability to be able to pick up concepts and ideas. Some children will rearrange their words to avoid a stutter, and this can look one of two ways. First, students can completely skip the word, so they don't have to sit there and try and figure out the word. Or some students will read the sentence and then they will rearrange the whole sentence that has the same meaning but makes sense where they can avoid reading the words they do not know. Stuttering can also limit a student's confidence and hold them back from participating in school activities or social interactions. Stuttering can cause students to not participate in after-school activities that would cause them to be social with their peers because they may get anxious about having a stutter. And again, this can cause frustration and low confidence if they are not being able to participate with their peers because of their stutter. Stuttering can lead to anxiety in the future for students, which can impact their learning. Stuttering can cause anxiety and low confidence because they'll feel nervous to talk or participate in the classroom. And this can also transfer over to being an active member in the community. Having a stutter will limit a student from social participation, which can greatly impact their oral literacy. It is necessary as a student growing up that we speak with others and we feel comfortable broadening our vocabulary. But with someone with a stutter, they can feel anxious and get embarrassed if they don't know a word and they might get stuck on a word. So this can hinder their understanding of concepts and ideas in the classroom. And then overall, stuttering can cause children to feel embarrassed, anxious, or have low confidence due to not being able to pronounce a word right. And then this can impact their social interaction with their peers, teachers, and families. Some suggestions for the classrooms is that as a future teacher, it will be important for us to model good communication skills for our students. So making good eye contact is a big help that can allow students to be more engaged in the classroom. When you make eye contact, you know a student is listening and actively receiving the information being talked about. So when we make eye contact with students, it makes them feel more engaged in the classroom. And then if we talk at a slower controlled rate of speech, this can allow students to have more processing time so they can understand what is being asked of them. Teachers should also model wait time, which allows students with stutters to gather their thoughts. So it's common for teachers to call on the first person who raises their hand, but it will be a good practice to model wait time. So when someone with a stutter, they can process what was just asked from the teacher and they can have time to gather their thoughts so they too can actively participate in the classroom. It's also a good idea to make classroom accommodations when possible. For example, allowing students to practice the presentation before they have to practice it in front of the whole class. This will give the students a higher confidence when they go to present in front of the whole class because they will already have practiced the words they are going to say and they will feel less likely that they are going to mess up. Finally, a suggestion for the classroom is that students should or teachers should sit down with their students and ask if there's any accommodations or supports that they can provide to help them get the best environment for learning that they can have. Sometimes it's as easy as printing a different format of the worksheets given out in class, maybe chunking or spreading of words so they can comprehend and process it easier. Some instruction in the classrooms are an example of adapting a lesson for a child who stutters would be listening to the child's whole response. This allows for the child to develop their whole sentence, and then after the teacher should restate to them what they had just asked. So the child knows that we have interpreted what they've asked or said, and then we should continue to give an answer. Students with a stutter, most importantly, need to feel comfortable. It's pivotal that teachers engage in conversations to help the student feel safe and provide resources for them to thrive. For students to feel comfortable, they need to know that they're an active member in their classroom. And for them to be able to accomplish this, it's sometimes just providing worksheets that have the tools that and supports that allow them to learn best for their language disorder. The first resource I have listed is the SAY resource, and this stands for Stuttering Association of the Youth. This resource is mainly for parents. It provides resources that parents can help aid their child with their stutter. And also it hosts a group meeting once a month that lasts 2 hours. And here they can let out any concerns or fears they may have relate to other parents and really find strategies that will best allow them to support their child. The second resource I have listed here is the Stuttering Foundation. And this is a short YouTube video that has a couple tips that will allow teachers and parents to be able to support their child with a stutter. We talked about a few of these, and a few of them are making eye contact, so we know that they are actively engaged and being active listeners. Talking at a slower rate, so it allows them to have time to process what is being said or asked of them. And then also turning their questions into statements, so we are giving them a second chance of hearing what they have just asked and seeing if that is what they actually mean. The third resource I have here is the National Stutter Association, and this kind of just provides general information about stuttering, along with brochures and worksheets that we can print as teachers or parents can use at home to support their child with stuttering. All of these can help work on different sounds and broadening their vocabulary. And then these are the references for what I have used in my presentation. So I hope that you were able to find a few takeaways from this presentation on stuttering, and thank you for listening.